and forward. Hi, I really like what you are doing. Watching your videos helped me to get back to myself after I stopped coming to the Church of Scientology when I was still considered to be a member of the church, and to stop feeling guilty. So now, when I'm free from Scientology, there are still some questions bothering me. I wonder why the practice of Dianetics and auditing couldn't be included as one of the programs to get better, as a possible remedy for psychology, neurology, psychiatry, etc., that would be fully or partially financed by the government funds, like, for example, obligatory health insurance that people have to pay with their tax, even if they are not working, even if they are never going to any doctors. I know that many doctors are bad because they prescribe only the most expensive pills for which they get secretly rewarded from the pharmacy companies, and these drugs may actually do more damage than help. I would like to hear your opinion about this. Thank you. Hey, Ann. First off, I would like to say that well done for getting out of Scientology, and thank you very much. I'm really glad that my videos could help you. I'd like to say that I would really encourage you to keep educating yourself, because I think from some of the things you've said in your question that there's still some CCHR, Citizens Commission on Human Rights, and Scientology dogma going on in your head, and it's not that it's not that Big Pharma are a bunch of good guys. Okay, it's not that CCHR gets it wrong on everything, because they don't. There are definitely abuses in psychiatry. There are definitely overprescriptions occurring with pharmaceuticals, and there are definitely problems in that area. No question about it. But the idea that every doctor is prescribing medications because they're getting kickbacks from Big Pharma that's not a truly accurate picture of what's going on, okay? So that all being said, I would just encourage you to keep finding out for yourself what the picture is out here in the big wide world of medicine and neurology and psychiatry and psychology. And I know that these are difficult topics to delve into with a Scientology background, because there's such heavy indoctrination in Scientology against anything that has to do with the brain or medicine or psychiatry and psychology specifically. And yet, the truth of the matter is that there are some very good people who have done some amazing work. I mean amazing work with neurology and with psychiatry and with psychology. There's some really great stuff out there to be learned and known about these fields that really explains a lot about the Scientology mindset, about cult mindsets, and about just how human beings operate, how we act, and why we act the way we do. So, heavily encourage education in that direction. Now, to answer your question about why, do I think that, why would the practice of Dianetics not be included in these fields? Well, see, it kind of is, but it's not called Dianetics or Scientology, of course. And I say it kind of is because Hubbard was taking things from psychology and psychiatry and incorporating them into Scientology. And I talk about Dianetics being a form of limited regression therapy, for example. Hubbard didn't invent the idea of going back and re-experiencing trauma or traumatic incidents that you've had in your past and going through them over and over again to desensitize them. And there have been studies done that show that that's actually not a very good thing to do, and it's not very effective at desensitizing traumatic experiences. But there's other studies that show that maybe, I can't cite positive studies about it, but I do know that some people have benefited from it. Let me put it that way. So I'm not going to sit here and naysay basic, regression therapy or the idea of going back over things that have happened in the past and, talking about them. I think that can be helpful. I think communication about life and things that have happened to us, I think that's always a helpful thing to do. So I don't have a problem with any of that as such. Dianetics takes that into this structured methodology and says, this is the only way to do it on every single person. This is universally workable. Everyone will respond. There are no exceptions to this. And that's where I call bullshit, because there are exceptions to it. There are people who don't respond to it. And the procedure itself is not at all scientifically validated through clinical trials and case studies and whatnot that it is universally effective, right? Which is why in 1950, psychology and psychiatry looked at Dianetics and were like, yeah, no, this is pop psychology at its worst. And Hubbard was like, no, this is scientifically validated research, and this is absolutely universally workable, and you guys in psychology don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm sorry. Hubbard was the one who didn't know what he was talking about, and he was doing it, to make the old greenbacks. So that is why I think you don't find people taking Dianetics into the secular world and using it universally as some, magical way of healing the world. It's been noted that you don't see fortune tellers winning the lottery. You don't see faith healers going into hospitals and emptying them out. Why not? Right? If fortune telling is a thing, then why has no fortune teller ever won the lottery? If faith healing is a thing, then why don't these people go into places where there is real physical need of healing and do something about it? It's because they can't, because it's fake. And so why is it that if Dianetics is so wonderful and is able to cure cancer, leukemia, bad eyesight, any physical derangement or problem, which is what Hubbard claims it will do, then why aren't the Scientologists going into hospitals or going down to medical centers or any area where there is a need for healing and doing it? Well, obviously for the same reason, because it doesn't do that. And so, it doesn't live up to its claims. What it does is it makes some people feel better. It makes some people able to more easily look at traumatic incidents that have happened in their past. And that's it. That's all it does. And there are some people who have been in Scientology and in Dianetics who have come out of Dianetics and Scientology because they realized how bad it was, but they still feel good about what the Dianetics did for them, and so they still attribute all its workability to Hubbard and to Dianetics. And it's a mistake. It's just they're misinformed. And it's so frustrating, for me to see that and see people still claim how wonderful Dianetics and Scientology are, even after they get out of the totalitarian organization of it, and still claim that the technology is so wonderful, because they, for the most part, have no clue what the hell they're talking about. So anyway, that's my take on that.